Hey everybody, it's Nancy from American Pet Professionals. Happy Tuesday and happy Halloween. This is our 40th episode of our live video show, Digging into the Pet Industry, which I'm so excited about. I can't believe we've already interviewed 39 other guests. So I am so excited that you're here. We are airing live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube as well. So wherever you're watching from, thank you so much for watching. And if you're listening to a future podcast episode, thank you so much for listening. So today I'm excited to introduce you to APP member Laura Paesano of Laura Pea Photography.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you for having
Hey,
me.
thank you for being here. Hi, Laura. So good to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
So here on Digging into the Pet Industry, we do kind of dig right in, but I love to step back and find out, kind of where you got started in your career. So tell us a little bit about your journey before you were doing pet photography.
I've always loved photography ever since I was younger. I took some classes in high school. When I was in college, I switched my major to studio art after a while, after I realized that being an English major wasn't for me. After I graduated, I um, I had a job working as a medical transcriptionist for an eye doctor's office, and I'd had it for years, and I was super comfortable there. And I there's when I kind of got like the bug of like time freedom because I was able to
Yeah.
come in whenever I wanted. Nobody was really there was no boss breathing down my neck. But after a couple of years, that industry kind of disappeared with the advent of electronic medical records.
Mhm.
And at the time, I was really bummed, but, looking back, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to me because it kinda gave me the kick in the pants that I needed to actually do something with my degree and start my photography journey. I started off, I always loved pets, I always loved animals ever since I was a kid, but I thought to myself, "People are not gonna pay you to take pictures of their pets. That's crazy talk." Little did I know. So I started off, shooting kind of what I knew. I had a lot of friends who were having babies around that time. They were asking me to take pictures of their newborns, so I took some classes in that, newborn safety and things like that, and started off doing that, but it didn't really click, for a while. Things were not
Pun intended.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wasn't really, like, kind of plugged into that world. I didn't have kids of my own,
Mhm.
and, I was a dog/cat/turtle slash turtle mom, I wasn't a human mom.
Right.
So, I wasn't seeing a lot of that, success rolling in really fast.
Mhm.
In 2016, I had my wonderful beloved dog, Basil, who is the reason for it all. I have his picture right here. I always keep it.
Oh, the other way.
Oh,
Oh, look at the
there he is.
eyebrows. So cute.
I adopted him. He was like my first dog that I had as an adult that wasn't like a family pet. He was my dog.
Yeah.
He was my heart and soul, and unfortunately in, 2016, he passed away from cancer,
Oh,
and I was just pet owners know the heartache. I
yep.
was just beside myself, and the only thing that gave me comfort, like, in those, like, worst moments was, like, I have so many good pictures of him. I was always
Yeah.
taking pictures of him in the studio, always bringing my camera outside, following him around, and those pictures really gave me comfort when I was really, really sad, and I thought to myself, "I wanna do this for other people." And so
Yeah.
I said to my mom, I went, "I'm gonna be a pet photographer." She goes, "Okay." And so I started doing, portfolio shoots for, people I knew, my friends, their dogs, their cats, and I finally added it to my website, said, "I'm open for business, I'm taking pets." And that is when things took off for me in business. I really started to see a lot of sessions coming in. People were excited about bringing their pets in for a professional shoot. Everybody has a billion pictures of their animals in their camera roll.
Yep.
A lot of people don't have really great shots of them on the wall and things like that. And I feel
Yeah.
like pets are really members of the family, and they should be up there on the walls, printed like everybody else.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I know you were talking about your when you graduated college. And I know I just wanted to bring it up because this is super impressive that you were magna cum laude from Stony Brook. That's
Oh,
really impressive.
thank you. Yes,
So I give you so much credit for going back and actually utilizing your degree, because a lot of us, right, we have our degrees and then we don't actually use what we went to school for. It's kind of
that's
hard to make that choice
yeah,
when you're like 17 or 18.
exactly. I was like, let me actually do something with this. And the fact that I love photography so much, and it's
Hmm.
really what I always wanted to do. And I really had gotten like that entrepreneurial, like, you know, bug I caught from not having, somebody telling me what to do all the time.
Right,
Now
right.
I'm addicted to it.
Yeah, no, I get it totally. I have a totally off the cuff question. As far as it comes to being a photographer, how long did you hold on to film photography until switching over to digital?
So I started out with film when I was shooting in school and everything.
Hmm.
And we had dark rooms in college, and I
Hmm.
actually worked in the dark room at Stony Brook. I volunteered in there. I was, the person who would open it up every day and mix the chemicals and check
Yeah.
people in and out and everything. And so I loved that, but it soon came to be that it was really just the industry standard that
Yeah.
you had to switch to digital, and film was getting a lot more expensive, a lot
Hmm.
more hard, like a lot rarer to find, and
Right.
get them done was getting harder to find. So I got my first digital camera when I was at school, uh,
Okay.
and learned there. And then once I started the business, I got my real professional, work
DSLR camera.
my
All
big
right. So now I know this. I shouldn't ask this because there's always like a. It's kind of like, do you feed your dog kibble or do you feed your dog raw? Canon, Panasonic. What kind of camera do you have?
So I learned on Canon
Okay.
in all the film days, but when I made the switch over to digital, I also made the switch to Nikon
Nikon. Okay.
because I tried a bunch of different cameras, and Nikon just felt good in my hands,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
liked the way the menus were set up, and I liked the focusing and things like that. So I've been a Nikon girl ever since. But I have like a backup camera that's a mirrorless camera, and that one I dipped my toes into the Fuji world for that. So I've
Okay.
just got the
Okay.
one camera that's Fuji, and that's like the one that's like a smaller, lighter one that I bring around when I'm, traveling and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's so cool. So I'm like a hobby photographer, right? I haven't done it as like professional shoots, but I've done photography since the 110 camera with the little advancing the film. That's when I got started
Yeah.
and I love it too. It's just so fun. And I actually have put down my big camera and I just use my phone all the time, which I know is totally different. It's not the same. When you see a professional photographer take a photo with their phone and know what they're doing and edit it and all of that. And then you look at as good as our phones are, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
And I held on to film for a very long time. I did not want to give it up, but then I did. So I was just curious, as a fellow photo bug, how long it took you because I did not want to give it up. And then when I did, I was like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, and the phone cameras are great, and there's a photographer, like, thing that they say, it's like the best camera is the one that you have, and
Mhm.
that's great. Everybody has their camera in their pocket, they can snap whatever they like, but when you want a little bit higher quality, be able
Yeah.
to print bigger and things like that, it's good to
Yeah.
go to a professional every once in a while.
And especially in the industry, if you're getting headshots taken, photos of your dog, product photos, you want high resolution photos,
Mhm.
and your phone is not going to cut it.
Yeah,
You might think it is, but it's really not going to. If they're going to blow that up to put it in a magazine, you're going to see digitalized,
yeah,
pixelated stuff, and people don't realize that. So
exactly, yeah.
very cool, very cool. All right, we'll get off the photo talk because you and I could probably talk about that for a long time. So how did changing photographing pets, how did going from primarily babies to really just pets? I know you do both still, but like how did that really change your business?
It was, definitely a transition. I did have to take a couple more, like, courses that I wanted to make sure that I was doing things safely. There's a certain way that you have to shoot newborns. There's a certain way you have to, shoot with animals, and kind of being aware of their behavior and their signs and things like that. But I really the thing is people always say, like, don't ever work with kids or pets, and I was like, I'm gonna work
Yeah.
both of them because I think I was born with an overabundance of patience, and it works for both of them. There's, animals and babies both need breaks. They have sometimes trouble controlling their bladders, and there's things that are very similar about them, but
That's hilarious.
very different. So yeah. But I really like I still photograph newborns. I still love doing that. I'm just a little bit more plugged in to the pet world as a crazy pet mom. But my favorite thing is when I get to combine those two specialties in one
Mm,
session. So more often I'm getting moms who are coming to me and saying, well, I'm having a baby, but my dog was my first baby, or my cat was
yeah,
my first baby, and I want them involved in the pictures. And I said, the more the merrier. I do have to take a couple more safety precautions when we're adding animals to a newborn shoot, but I love being able to combine both of those things together, and that's
yeah,
rewarding.
that's incredible. So would you say pets versus babies? I know you combine them, but often, but would you say that your clientele is furrier now, or is it 50-50?
It is definitely more toward the pet side.
Okay.
And I always say I specialize in babies, furry or otherwise, but now it's also furry or feathered or
Fins.
scaled or things like that. It's all that runs the gamut of all sorts of pets.
Do people bring their fish in to have photos of them done?
No, but one
Okay.
time I did get asked to go to somebody's house to photograph their aquarium. So
Oh, wow.
I have actually done fish before.
That's not easy. It's a
There's a
little
whole
I
lot
feel
of
like
glass glare
yeah,
issues
yeah, the
you have to
glare and
worry
the fish
about
are
with
moving
that.
around. You can't get them to, like, look at you for a squeaky or something.
Exactly, but once you get that angle right, very beautiful.
Yeah, that's so cool, that's so cool. So, what tips would you give to pet parents that wanna hire a pet photographer? What should they look for?
I think that they should really look for, who's got the style that they're interested in.
Mm,
There's
good.
a lot of different pet photographers that, some they only shoot dogs completely. That's what they do. Some do all types of pets. Some have studio only. Some are outdoor natural light only. Really like what are
Yeah.
you looking for? And are you looking for, a huge amount of props? Or are you looking for something that's a little bit more scaled down and, focusing on maybe you and your dog's connection together or, your cat candid doing their favorite things? Really look at, their portfolio and see if they are a good fit for you, like, what
Yeah.
you're going for.
That's really excellent advice because I feel like that might not be the first thing people think of. So thank you for giving that advice. How can they prepare for a photo shoot, the day with their pet? Is there any practice or training that you can tell them to do beforehand?
So one thing I've taught my dog that I tell clients about that's something good to practice is something called the watch command. And my trainer had taught me this when I first got my dog Gracie. And it was really to redirect her from things that were, maybe setting her off because she tends to be a little bit reactive. And it was like, hold the treat here, say watch when she looks in your eyes, not when she looks at the treat, when she looks at their eyes, then you give them the treat and you reward or you click or something like that. And so now when I take pictures of my dog, I do Gracie watch, and she knows to look right at me. And that's been very helpful. I also tell people they tend to think, oh, we have a session today. I'm going to bring my dog or my cat to the groomer that morning. Don't do don't do
Stress
that,
them out.
because
Nothing
then
like
that
stressing them
dog
out. Yeah.
yeah, that animal is stressed, that
Yeah.
animal thinks, "Oh god, where am I going now?" I usually tell people, get them groomed the week before, let them settle down. Also, before you bring them to the session, go for a nice long walk. Go,
Hmm.
you know, get them a little bit tired, but not so tired that they're drooling like crazy.
Right.
With cats, it's a little bit different because cats, you can't really prepare too much for a session. Cats don't typically travel well, so a lot of times I go to my client's house,
Okay.
pictures of cats, and then the whole thing is just being in the room with them for a little bit, letting them, calm down around me, and then trying to get stuff from there. But so yeah, it varies by pet, but
Yeah, that's really great advice. I love the grooming tip because that's important. You would think most people probably would go the day of, right?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
we
a little
just
bit
got him
too much.
groomed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of stress. It also depends. Is the dog sitting in a cage for half the day, and then you're trying to go do shoots? So,
Yeah.
that's really excellent advice. So, let me ask you this. So, how do can you get the pet to focus on you? And it's like a little bit of a caveat to it, right? So a lot of times I take photos. For years, I would take photos just for fun at events, and then I would give people my business card, and not for the photo, just say like, this is where the photo will be for them to go to my social or whatever. Just part of events, part of fun. And every single time when I'm trying to take a photo of the dog, every single time the pet parent's like, Charlie, look, look, Charlie, look. And then the dog is looking at the person and not at me. And I'm like, no, 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 it's okay. So how do you do that? So you are, getting the dog or cat or whatever to look at you. And then what do you tell the pet parents?
Yeah, it's more about like educating the pet parent and not the animal. So
Mhm.
with most animals, it's really just they sit them there and they stay nice and close and they're patient. Dogs is a little bit different. So with dogs, I usually tell people, stay nice and close to them so they feel safe. You're there. They're not looking all around the room for you. You can also be close in case you need to grab their leash if something's going on. And you just hold on to them and let me get their attention because
Mhm.
I have a whole arsenal of silly noises I can
Right.
make with my mouth. I have squeaks. I have all sorts of things to get them to look my way.
Yeah.
That like you said, if the parent's going, look over here, then none of the photos are going to be dead on. They're always going to be set
Right.
to the side. So I always tell them, you just stay nice and close there, keep them calm, keep them happy. A lot of times if a dog really wants to, bolt, and sometimes it'll be like you get them in a sit and then they bolt. Uh,
Yeah.
they just keep your hand on them. When I'm ready, I'll tell you 1, 2, 3, let your hand go, and I'll snap the shot. If I have to do some photoshopping to get your hand out, I will do that. Done.
Right. Right.
Very used to getting out leashes, getting out, people's hands, feet,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, I love seeing those videos of the Photoshop and like a million things going on in the background, and then the picture of that. It's really incredible
Exactly.
the tools that you can have. That's really good advice because I feel like it is, it's a human nature thing, right? You want your dog to look at you, but the camera's over there. So that's really good advice. I love that you offer like those tips in a calm way. I can see with your demeanor, it's a calm way because people can be nervous getting the photos, uncomfortable getting their photos if it's them and the pet, or if their dog maybe or cat maybe is not necessarily friendly towards other people. It just happens, right?
Yeah.
I had a dog that was super shy, the one that's behind me.
Hmm.
So, and he did not like his photos being taken. I had to sneak to get any photos of him. So I think that's really great advice to give them. So, do you prefer in studio shoots in the home, in your home, in your studio, or do you prefer natural settings? Which works best for you?
Um, I do like there's pros and cons to both. So the
Okay.
studio, it's great because there's, I have total control over the light. We can do it here no matter what the weather is, things like that. It is a very small space though, so it's not great for bigger groups and multiple animals,
Yeah.
things like that. So it's really if people are looking for a big group shot with their dog in it, I say, let me come to you, or let's meet at a park or a beach or something like that, because then we'll be able to spread out. But those things also have their downsides where you have to worry about the sun, you have to worry about the weather, you
Mm,
have to worry about, do I have to get a permit to shoot where I'm going? Do I have to, worry about, 4 other photo shoots going on in the background?
mhm.
And also, then I always tell people to keep their dogs or their animals on a leash or a long line because I'd rather Photoshop it out than somebody lose a dog
Yeah.
while we're doing a photo shoot. So there's just a little extra step when you have to do something like that. And honestly, a lot of times clients think, "Oh, we can't do it in my house because my yard is not nice looking." But if there's just one area of your yard that's clear of, big distractions, dogs are very comfortable in their yard.
Yeah.
That's their territory. And we can spread out. We don't have to have leashes on usually in those scenarios because they're gated typically. So that's there's good things about each kind of setting. So it's really whatever the client's needs are.
Yeah. All right. That's really interesting. Um, So, what would you say is the most meaningful thing with your business to you?
Um, the most meaningful thing is probably also kind of a bummer. It's the sessions where the parents know that they don't have a lot of time
Yeah,
with the pet, um, because it's those are so special, but they're
yeah,
also, a little bit like, heartbreaking to
yeah,
do. But I've had a lot of clients that tell me afterwards that I used to cry when I thought of my pet that I lost, but then I looked at the photos you took of them, and now I smile. So
yeah,
that's always very meaningful. And I
yeah,
always tell people, you know, get try and get them done when they're still with it and
yeah. Cognitive a little bit. Yeah.
still relatively healthy. That way, it won't be such of a sad experience. You want to kind of think back of it with happiness.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I have to be honest, I can't even look at those photo shoots when people post them online. I'm like, "Oops, skipping that," because it's just too sad for me to see. I'm happy they got the photos done, but I'm like, "No, I can't even look at
Yeah,
that."
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, but that's really good advice to have it, while they're still somewhat healthy and that you have time for the dog to really or cat to really be paying attention and focused on you, and that's
Exactly.
really good. So, what as a pet business owner, what is the most important thing to you as a business owner?
I think finding community with other business owners, other
Yeah.
photographers, groups, and things like that. There's a couple of groups that I have joined that have meant the world for my business. American Pet Professionals being one of
Thank
them,
you.
and another one that I'm a part of is the Rising Tide Society. I'm the Long Island chapter leader, and also Richie Schwartz, another American Pet Professionals member. He
Yeah.
just came on as my co-leader, one of my co-leaders for that. And we're an organization that tries to connect small business owners, especially an emphasis on creative small business owners in the spirit of community over competition, that, we can all make it.
Love
There's
that.
enough room for everybody. Richie and I could very well be competitors and, cutthroat, not want to talk to each other, but we're buds and we,
Yeah.
send each other referrals and things like that. And, another photographer does not have to fail for me to succeed. And just,
I love that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's so
finding,
I love that because I feel like, the pet industry isn't not as cutthroat as other industries, right?
yeah,
But I also think that that's just such a great thing because that's just so true with no matter what your pet business is. So
yeah, and
anyway, go
it's
ahead.
lonely. It's lonely to be a
Yeah.
small business owner. A lot of times you're doing it on your own, and just to have a community of people who understand it and get it and support you is really important. And another group that I joined that is not really about the business, but it keeps me like creative and keeps my love for photography is 52 Frames. It's a group that sets a weekly photo challenge, and I've been doing it since like
Oh,
2015. And yeah, you get your theme every week and you go out and shoot and everybody submits it. And I help them behind the scenes a little bit with their Pinterest and things like that. And it's just a way to keep that spark, because it's
yeah, that's so
sometimes
cool.
sometimes when you do something for a living, it gets to be boring a little bit, or it's not exactly what you want to be doing. So that helps me kind of keep my creative spark and my love for photography alive.
I love that. That is so cool. I think we all should do that in our businesses
Yeah,
because it's so hard to always stay creative and to have that challenge and be inspired by other people in your community is really, really cool. You've
exactly.
inspired me. Maybe we'll do something at American Pet Professionals to get everybody to have a little bit of a challenge. That's so cool.
Hmm.
And the rising tide, I know I've been to one of your Zoom meetings and you do a fabulous job as the leader of it. And I'm not just saying that because you're on, I really was impressed. And hopefully, one of these days, I can get to one of your in person. That always seems to be when I have something else going on, but
Yeah, we
we'll
don't do them
try.
quite as often now since the pandemic. We used to do them,
Yeah,
every month before, but now
same.
they're a little bit fewer and farther between, especially everybody's so busy. So we get in person every once in a while, but we always try to do once a month to kind of connect and get it's a little bit of an education, it's a little bit of support. It's all wrapped up in one.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this: what would be the best piece of advice that you've ever received as a business owner?
Um, I think to not compare myself with other people. Don't, just kind of stay in your lane and compete with yourself. Focus
Mhm.
on what you're doing, and you know, other people might look like they have so many amazing things going on, but you're seeing their highlight reel.
Mhm.
You're not seeing the struggles and everything. So don't compare yourself to that. Just keep going and doing what you do best, and focus on what makes you unique in the business.
I love that. And what would you tell somebody that is watching that is thinking about becoming a pet photographer in the pet industry? Any tips for them?
I would say just go out and take as many photos of pets as you possibly can. There's so much value in practice, practice, practice. I recently started volunteering at Kent Animal Shelter,
Oh,
taking
that's
some,
awesome.
yeah, taking some photos of like the pets that were there the longest, to try and get them a
Yeah.
little better chance at being adopted. And I found that that was such a learning experience for me, even after being, a
Yeah.
photographer I've been a professional photographer for 9 years now. It was such a learning experience because typically the people who come to me, their dogs know sit and stay, or their cats are, used to people. Um, but these were, completely untrained dogs for the most part. They're kind of in a stressful situation.
Mhm.
And I still was like able to make it work and use all those kind of things that I had learned over the years. And I was like, if I had been doing this in the beginning, this would have been like a real crash course
Right.
in the best ways to learn how to photograph an animal. So
That's really great advice. And I do agree. I wish there were, I know a lot of pet photographers do that and time is challenging, but I wish there were more pet photographers that did do that because, as you know, in our weekly pet events newsletter, we highlight pets for adoption. And sometimes the photos are just not good. And I'm like, it's really not highlighting that dog's personality. It might be a little blurry or like it's just not that great. And I'm always like, oh, I wish this was a better photo. So I love that they'll learn so much, right? Because I really have to work harder to get the dog's personality and focus on them or cat. Um, and then also highlighting and helping out the dogs that are and pets that are at the shelter. So
yeah,
it's
you
really
can really give them a better shot at being adopted because people see that photo and they're like, oh, that's that's what a beautiful animal, and
right.
it really does. It makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. So hopefully we've inspired somebody to volunteer today, even if it's quarterly, like whatever you can
Yeah.
do. I know we have a lot of photography friends and members that have done that, but it's just not. It's always sad when you see not the greatest photo.
Yeah, and they
Um,
they need new photos all the time. They're getting new
mhm.
animals all the time.
Yeah, absolutely,
There's a need for
absolutely.
it.
Awesome. So is there anything that I didn't ask you about your business that you would like to add?
I don't know. Let's see. I have a mini session event coming up at Barkfield Road
Okay.
in November. It is fully booked for the day that we did it, but we're thinking of adding on another day. So
Okay.
if you're interested in getting a holiday shot for your dog or your cat, keep an eye on Barkfield Road or my Instagram to see. We're thinking we might add another day because there was such a great demand for it. And it's a nice event that we do every year. To benefit the Dottie Fund, who
Oh
helps
yes.
animals. People keep their animals if some emergency happens, medical care is needed, and things like that, to so that they don't end up into a shelter and things like
Yeah, it's a wonderful organization. Thank you for doing that.
that.
Any other last minute tips on holiday photo shoots? Because I feel like you said, you're already sold out. But is there anything like that you can offer to pet parents that are like wanting to get that holiday photo shoot, maybe with their whole family and their pet?
Yeah, so definitely next year, book earlier. If you can believe it, I've been shooting holiday stuff since August.
I can believe it. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, but that's when you gotta start to make sure that you can get in and get your photos edited and get them back in time because people like to send their cards out early. But if you're going to be doing your shot on your own on your cell phone this year, look for the light. Go to a window. Natural light is your friend. and get down on your pet's level if you can. And, treats in front of the phone are always good. And then, and then next year you can come to me.
Right. I love that. I love that. And I'm not surprised. I've seen a lot of photo shoots going on in the fall in like every park that I'm walking the dog in. And I'm always
Prime
like
time.
trying to duck out of the way. I'm like, they'll just Photoshop me out, hopefully.
Yes, especially when the leaves are so gorgeous right now.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God. We've had
this
a
is
tremendous year this year, right? With the foliage. It's been
mhm,
beautiful.
exactly.
I may or may not have taken way too many photos that I don't need because I have photos from the years past, but it's so pretty.
I
I
know.
can't help myself. So one other question before we let you go is what is the timeline if somebody books a session with you? Like say I'm like, hey, Cody and I are coming to your studio, we're gonna book a session. How long does it take for them to get the photos?
So when I meet with people, I usually tell them I just need 2 weeks. I like to fully edit everybody's photos because sometimes I feel it can be hard for people to visualize exactly what the shot's going to look like.
Yeah,
You couldn't show them the back of the camera, but if they're like, "Oh, well, this is in the background," it's like, "Well, it won't be in the final shot." Don't
right.
worry. So I tell people I need 2 weeks. I will get you all the fully edited stuff. I like to meet people in person to do
Hmm.
the session where they view their images and order things. But if they can't meet me, we can also do it on Zoom, or I can send
Okay.
a link, and then they let me know what they want, and just takes a couple of days to get any products designed that they like. I have collages, canvases, and all sorts of stuff. This is one of my favorite products that I like to tell people who go into work in an office. Is an
Oh,
image
that's
cube,
cute. Yeah. I
and it's
love that.
this one has obviously a bunch of different people's dogs on it. That's my Gracie girl.
Oh,
But this has like 6 sides. You can keep it on a desk. It's kind of nice little showpiece. And those just take a couple days to put together. And I try to get people their stuff back as fast as possible because
right.
people want to see the things that they ordered. They want to enjoy their prints. I sell prints, and I always whatever people order like a print of, they get a free small digital file with that image because
Okay.
people also really love to have the shots on their phone too.
Yeah, they
Make
wanna
sure
share it.
I make sure that stuff is safe, it's printed, and it's also they can have it digitally. They have different backups places so that their photos are safe, and they'll always have them for generations to come.
Okay, that's really good information. 2 weeks is not bad for our, instant gratification society of have everything done in 2 seconds, so I think that it's, a really good turnaround time, and then people can really get excited for when those photos are coming in.
Yeah.
So, how can people connect with you that are watching?
So I'm at Laura P Photography on pretty much everything: Facebook,
Okay.
Instagram, now Threads, the new thing.
Yeah.
And if you would like to find my website, I'm at www.laurapphotography.com,
Okay.
or laurapphotography@gmail.com if you prefer email.
All right, awesome. And we'll put those contact information in the comment section. So if anybody is watching, can go ahead and connect with Laura. Laura, I'm so glad we finally got you on. I know it's been a little bit of
Yeah,
of a while since we were invited, but I'm so
for
happy
sure.
that you were on today to talk
Yeah,
all about photography. Again, like I said before, you and I could go completely nerd out about all the photo stuff for quite a while. But we'll have that conversation off air.
exactly.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you in person soon. And I hope that everything is going great with your business. And I hope that everybody's watching has a great rest of their day. Thanks so much, Laura, for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me.